and anything's possible when he's on the Rift.
Yeah, he's going to get to play EDG on the blue side, down a game here for this second game and our final game of the evening. OMG over on the red side now. We've got Ari, Aurelia, and John, the 3 bans there for EDG, and Na and Vega are getting banned out by OMG.
The bans have come in very, very fast, especially from EDG. Cool continues to draw the respect bans on 5.2. Smart ban away on the Ari. The Aurelia, we didn't see it last time, but it's been one of GoGoing's strongest champions, so banned away as well. Are they looking for the first pick, Lissandra? Is that what they really want to take out with this draft so far? That's probably the strongest champion objectively that's made it through the picks and bans, but no, it doesn't quite. It's banned away. Kassadin also open here as well, which they could take, who is, I think, objectively the strongest champion on this patch. And you know what? EDG might agree with me. They snap it right up. Okay, but Cool's pretty good at this LeBlanc guy.
He's not bad.
LeBlanc is available, so picking up the LeBlanc would be a massive step towards victory. Cool's assassin play, so many of them were banned out last series. You have to think it's going to be the LeBlanc taken away, at least at some point.
Yeah, it could be Rumble LeBlanc as well. We've seen OMG play so well, especially with Uzi when they're playing double AP for GoGoing and Cool specifically. But OMG might have other plans here. Might even take away a pick from poor Deft, and they do. LeBlanc will be here for Cool, but it's actually going to be Uzi on Corki.
My eyes widen as we see the Corki locking. Uzi has not played a Corki game this season. It's never been one of his champions. You even think back to when we cast the LPL previously. He was always the Twitch player. He's been the Sivir player this season. He's always played basically all the other champions except for Corki. But look, he's going on the Corki this game.
And you know, it's a first for a couple of things here in Corki. It was Def's first Corki loss in the last game to OMG, and it'll be Uzi's first outing on the champion here as well. But EDG love these picks here. We've got the Rek'Sai for Clearlove, one of his best champions, and it is Lulu somewhere in the mix for EDG.
I really love the lock-in of the Rek'Sai. Last game, all in on the aggression with the Jarvan. It absolutely did not work for EDG. Now you can balance aggression with farming, with the potential for split pushing. We've already seen Rek'Sai's come up big today. We've seen a pentakill from a Rek'Sai today. So we know that potential. It's sky high. I love the fit for Clearlove, and I love the fit for EDG.
Yeah, and this is a great 2 picks here for OMG as well. We've got the Jarvan and the Thresh now coming through, so very much a Cloud support coming in, and a standard jungler for Loveling.
But could you say pick any more than the 4 champions that have been picked by OMG? They're known for the pick comp, but when we're talking about LeBlanc, Jarvan, Thresh, and the Corki power spikes, EDG thinking about some fun champs. We have not seen a lot of Lucian this season. Graves has kind of been thought of as, just a better Lucian in a lot of ways. Lucian still does have some very good long-range wave clear with the ultimate. Lucian does do well in some specific matchups. Always been a good one against Corki because you can get the instant trade in with the Q and then use the quick draw to move away, but it's going to be the Jinx.
I mean, I saw Lulu and I instantly thought of Def's Jinx, so that is what EDG are going to pick up here. Got the Annie there as well. Mako's possibly best performing champion there as well from the support role. So EDG tried something a little bit different, you have to say. In the first game, had a very specific comp, but maybe a bit narrow. Now, this is a classic EDG comp, and it's all about Deft.
It's all about Deft, you say, but is it really? Is there a lot of peel for Deft in this comp? They've got a lot of dive, a lot of CC, but it's not the Lee Sins of the world. It's not a lot of disengage. It's going to be a mid lane Lulu, so of course they're going to have a nice building of AP for a really big wild growth, but everyone else on the team does best going in. There's not a lot of peel coming through for Deft on the Jinx. Might be left to the Wolves a little bit, and you know that's what OMG is going to be all about. It's assassinating Deft.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point as well. Also, Koro is absolutely fine, but that's a Hecarim coming in for OMG. We talked about pickups. We talked about the return of the freight train. It might just be back here.
Look, it's not the Graves, not the same AoE burst, but Corki's no slouch in the AoE magic damage department at least. And this is pick comps picked absolutely to a T from OMG. Hecarim, Jarvan, LeBlanc, Corki, Thresh. That is an insanely strong mid-game comp from OMG. If they can control the mid-game, I can't see a way back for EDG. They're all in for the late game. Jinx in the late game, Kassadin in the late game. A lot of potential there, but I think they'd kind of struggle to peel for Deft, and Deft is the crown jewel by far of their comp.
And this is just a fantastic thing. I mean, it's so good to see both these teams basically playing their best style against each other in this last game. I'm going to have Kassadin versus Rumble in the top side. Rek'Sai versus Jarvan there for the jungle. Actually, that's Not correct. Clearlove's not playing Joven. He's playing Rek'Sai.
Yes, there's definitely been some mistakes on the graphics, ironically, coming through.
But it's fine. Cool there. Playing, again, they're mixed over. Anyway, Pawn playing a bit more supportive here. Going to let the 2 carry going through. And again, it's just the big late game 2-threat comp from EDG and 5 massive pick champions in a mid-game comp for OMG.
Yeah, there's just so much mid-game from OMG. How many of these late-game comps have really reached late-game and even won? It's been a sparing thought. It hasn't happened a lot. And to give such a powerful OMG comp, especially the LeBlanc to Core. Core's been wonderful on that champion. It's against a Lulu, so of course Lulu can, at least in the early levels, be very safe against LeBlanc. Solin has a lot of wave clear. They're going to struggle, though, to control OMG in the mid-game. I just don't know how they can do it.
Well, I guess we'll have to see. I mean, we're going to find out very quickly. Let's get on to the riff for our last game. And welcome back for our last game. EDG versus OMG. Titans will clash once again. OMG are up a game in this best of 2. EDG going to fight back for the draw and possibly keep the title of best Chinese team alive here. But OMG looking to take it with both hands and a hook. Does already land on the Corrigan, going doing damage as well. Cassidy does not want to burn any summoners if he can help it, but great damage there early on in the top.
Yeah, definitely not the spectacular early damage at level 1 coming through. Even from Hecarim, of course, getting the lowered cooldown on that Q, on that Rampage. Just not enough damage to even force the flash out of Cassidy. EDG, they definitely had the first game taken away from them, and now they've picked for the late game. So they're almost opening the gambit to OMG to take this game by the scruff of the neck in the mid game and never really let them back into it. So EDG taking a lot of risks. It's a high-risk, high-reward comp. They are Cassidy and Jinx. You know the damage is going to be their late game, but can they reach that fabled late game?
I mean, we'll have to see, but for fans of League of Legends, this is a treat to watch. These 2 teams are basically taking at least their classic styles and some of their current styles as well into battle here against each other. Can EDG survive the pressure of OMG? Classically, EDG have been able to in our team fight them, but these are 2 very different teams now.
And of course, the LPL standard is represented in summoner spells in the top lane. Teleport Ignite is the pickup from Going. I thought that was the amazing J special. I thought other people would take the flash. We've actually seen an exhaust teleport so far. But people don't seem to feel the need to pick up the flash on the Hecarim. In the early levels, having that escape could be so useful. Of course, from level 6 onwards, the Onslaught of Shadows has such a long range that it's a very good escape tool, so I can kind of understand the pickup. I'm going to be very interested to see the Hecarim versus Cassidy in 1v1 matchup, because the interesting thing to me is you need a lot of rampages to clear a minion wave. If you max out that Force Pulse, theoretically, there should be a lot of spells being used. You could almost use that ability off cooldown.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens there. That's a very interesting matchup here, but you know, both Korra and Going probably have plenty of experience there. Down the bottom now as well, Def going to try and navigate against one of the hardest players to CS against with a hyper carry. It's Uzi, and he's on Corki.
It's usually the Caitlyn that we see to kind of harass these medium-range champions like Jinx. He likes to pick up the Caitlyn and harass you out of lane. Finally, we see the Uzi vs. Def matchup once again. 2 of the top 80 carries in the world. Uzi on Corki, though, that's a curveball I don't think anyone saw.
No, maybe Def didn't expect it either. He's back on Jinx, though, one of his best-performing champions so far in the LPL. So I like what's happening here. And right now, EDG looking very comfy, just farming under turret. Loveling is going to get low, but should be fine there in his own jungle.
Yeah, hopefully no jungle executes coming through. As Clearlove much more healthy as he rotates through. Gogoing's managed a substantial push in the top lane, so he is a bit overextended, but doesn't look like Rek'Sai wants to commit to a gank.
Clearlove at least going to poke his head around. Looks like the Scuttle Crab might be his current objective. Going to keep farming up a little while longer, and actually is going to come... No, does trick me. Not going to come into the top lane yet. Just going to leave Korra alone for now.
Level 2 Cassidy doesn't really offer much to a gank, and he probably didn't feel confident being able to solo down a full health Gogoing, who even has Ignite, even has an extra combat summoner, so probably smart to back away. In the end, though, if OMG can push all these lanes, EDG, they're kind of lambs for the slaughter.
Gogoing goes back very early and actually going to teleport already. Just got a longsword and some vision, so very concerned about early pressure by Clearlove.
The pink ward super early might be unsighted, although he's going to... He actually backs away. He doesn't want to walk over the Scuttle Crab to reveal the fact that he has a pink ward. Going to have a very defensive pink ward as a result. Probably not going to get the aggressive vision he may have hoped for.
Yeah, Loveling actually already has an aggressive ward as well. Looks like he's actually opted for an early back. So OMG have some plans here. Want to get this vision down very swiftly.
It almost means they want to force Rek'Sai into farming. We've actually seen some very aggressive Clearlove ganking on Rek'Sai in previous performances. So, warding up very aggressively and pushing all the lanes, that should leave Loveling on a very strong skirmish champion. Free reign to either gank, push, counter gank, whatever he wants to do.
Yeah, well, Deft here going to continue cleaning out minions here. Doing well, and the Jinx actually keeping up against the Corki. So Uzi not being able to quite pressure the Jinx as he might like here, but Corki going to take a couple levels to get going, and they're still pushing aggressively into EDG's turret.
Yeah, the only lane that will have trouble out-pushing the opponents has to be the mid lane. Of course, Pawn will have a lot of ranged wave clear coming through on Lulu. Cool still can do it. He actually has a level advantage and has been trading whenever he can get harass and also AoE wave clear down with his distortion. That's massive for him, but Clearlove's going in.
Yeah, Clearlove actually in the top lane gets first blood there. Koro just goes in and picks up one of the easiest first bloods I think he's ever seen. And Clearlove, we talked about the pressure, very well executed in the top lane.
Burrowed through and then flashed for the unburrow. No flash available for Going. Of course, he just died instantly. Massive burst of damage.
And I feel like Flash Unburrow, almost underrated as far as CC goes. It's basically instant, that knockup that you get, and it's impossible to get out of once it starts.
And of course, you always smile with the duo with the Lulu. The Flash Unburrow into the Whimsy, the double knockup potential is just a wombo that you don't expect. It's kind of subtle, but it can be team fight changing. We've seen it previously in the LPL already.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit of Scion Rek'Sai as well. There's a little bit of that action going on as well. I actually love this pick from Pawn. Again, Pawn to me is just such a flexible, fluid player. The fact that he's gone from Veigar to, good flash play actually coming in. Mako going to tank the hook there as well from Cloud, but Uzi going to get turned in on. Mako going to get low, but they're trading back and forth. Deft, though, can't really out-damage 2v1, but it's actually maybe going to go back in. No, does keep it safe for now, but Deft with a very strong trade.
Important, the heals are up. In fact, all summoners available for Uzi. That's still a very good trade coming through. Of course, has a natural escape spell in Valkyrie, so Uzi has a lot of options. I wouldn't be surprised to see him going super aggressive for the kill on Mako, but for now, at least, playing safe.
Yeah, got a potion chugged as well, and no surprise that Deft and Uzi are going to do battle very well. There's Mako coming in, but Clearlove's actually already in as well. Uzi has to be careful. Cloud taking damage. Loveling's already coming through as well. The Chompers are good, and Cloud gets the first kill, but Jinx will get excited and get the next. Loveling roars into the bottom lane, but it's a trade.
Yeah, both heals are down. Of course, the trade is actually better as Deft picks up the kill for EDG, and it's Cloud picking up the kill for OMG. So, of course, the gold going mostly to the AD carry, especially to Deft, with his flash down to pick up an extra bonus 300 gold is massive for him in this lane.
Clearlove still here as well on the Rek'Sai. Loveling flash forward. Deft in trouble. Beautiful move, but a great knock-up onto Loveling. The Chompers will secure the kill, and Koro has come down here as well. Goes over the top. Uzi, the Q, will follow him in, and Clearlove, who's going to try and do a bit more damage. Koro needs his Riftwalk back, but might not have enough space here. Clearlove still chasing in. Koro does secure the kill, though, and it's a 3-for-2 in favor of EDG.
I'm really impressed by the unselfish play from Deft. He must have known he'd die, but they pick up the bonus kills. But with this rotation, it might be evened up.
Clearlove does go down to Cool. Then Mako going to look in as well. And there's Koro going to keep going in. Cool in trouble. The Lantern out there, but he can't make it in time. Instead, distorts to the turret. Koro with no mana, but just throws in a Q and gets another easy kill. 3-0 already on the Kassadin.
Yeah, just a level 2 Q, but it was enough damage to come through. If he'd actually committed fully to the Force Pulse, that last Q would not have killed LeBlanc. Big winners are EDG in that trade. And again, shout out to Deft for the wonderful, unselfish play. He knew he'd die to that engage, but with all the full information, the summoners being available, the level 6 being hit by Koro, EDG win on that fight big.
Good hook by Cloud going though, and Trouble's teleported in. He's going to take so much damage. The Wild Growth will knock him up, and Koro gets a 4th kill on the Kassadin, and EDG secure the Dragon as well. And this game is not going how we thought it was going to go.
3 kills from that rotation. Of course, already had the first blood earlier. Massive for this Kassadin. Just doesn't have 100 gold short of finishing the Rod of Ages. An 8-minute Rod of Ages. An 18-minute power spike on that item would have been insane. But look, he'll take what he's got. It's insane how strong this Kassadin is from that roam. And once again, Deft giving up his life has basically allowed the hyper carry top laner to really take over this game.
Yeah, and it seems like in the mid, Cool actually going aggressive. Uzi and Cloud were hiding in the bottom side as well. But they'll back off for now. Pawn does look low there off screen, so probably going to have to recall, and is there just behind the Raptor camp, making sure he goes in. Cool might look for him there as well, but I can't quite find him. Pawn will complete the recall and be safe. And now going for Athene's early on versus Cool's Merlin. Oh my god.
The last second invulnerability actually saved Pawn as the chain did land. Of course, it led to the global chain, which is the hilarious interaction. Pawn's only job is really to clear waves and not die in the mid lane. He's kept up in CS, he's doing his job, but you can see that Loveling's rotated to mid. Kassadin's smelling around though, there's potential for another skirmish so early.
Tremor Sense coming through a little bit nice, they will spot them off, but no, not burrowed yet. We'll get the Scuttlecrab though, and Cool doing a very good job waiting here. Clearlove, he's going to go down, a good knockup moves in, the snare comes through on Clearlove, nowhere to go. Loveling dunks him for the kill.
I'm not sure why he face-checked that bush, there was no need to walk in. LeBlanc had just gone off the map, so there was the potential, at worst, of getting chunked out by the LeBlanc. The result, though, is a free kill to call.
Yeah, Korra came back in, but OMG going to look for a tower dive here, it seems like, as well. Korra has to be so careful. He's just got his ulti and no other summoners back up. Going could look for a dive. He does have his ulti and his ignite up. He goes in straight away with the onslaught of status. Korra does get around here. Maybe a great chain from Cool, though, and Hecarim secures the kill.
Yeah, it was actually a very difficult turret dive. Going was below half health. But when you've got LeBlanc played by Cool, you know he's going to hit all the skill shots, and it's easy, but the counter turret dive's on in bottom.
Yeah, looks like they are going in. Cloud very low there, and there's the first kill. But Uzi going to pick up Annie. He's going to look to go down here. Pawn's going to look in. Does actually get the next kill there, so a 2-for-1 plus a turret here as well. This map just got crazy.
Yeah, they're actually wonderful execution on the turret dive. Of course, not a support Lulu, it's an AP Lulu, so doing a nice burst of damage. In terms of gold, it's still in the advantage of EDG, mostly, of course, in Kassadin's pocket. He's got his Rod of Ages now. It's a 10-minute Rod of Ages, so not really delayed to a great degree. 20 minutes is going to be a huge Kassadin on the Rift.
Yeah, we talk about 12 minutes being a incredibly fast Rod of Ages on Kassadin. 10.5 is unbelievable here for Korra. He'll return happily to his top lane here. A little bit behind Siesta going, but you know what? He's going to have a rough early game, most likely. He's set up to try and carry this game much earlier than OMG expect.
And it's worth knowing that in terms of combat stats, Going's actually lacking. He spent 1,600 gold on his boots.
Yeah, actually now Mako could be in trouble. Going in there. Uses his ulti, I believe, but Mako will throw back a stun. Clear Love going to spot them out with the Prey Seeker as well, but EDG can't really commit. Korra is rotating in as well. Good wave clear there from Pawn under the turret using the Glitter Lance. So, and actually it's going to be 1v1 for the AD carries, but everyone is moving around this map.
1,700 gold effectively spent on a 5-minute time. Of course, they're going to be an insane Hecarim teleport home guard gank coming through in a few minutes time, but so much to be spent on that means it's not many combat stats on Going. If he is going to go for the selfish Trinity Force build, the timing on that item is going to be significantly delayed, whereas we already know the Rod of Ages, the big core item is completed for Korra. It feels like they're not going to want to opt into any team fighting anytime soon here, OMG, because this is such a big item discrepancy between those two heroes.
The unfortunate thing, though, is that EDG are happy if that's the case here. They would happily not fight OMG for the next 5-10 minutes if they could help it. I mean, Deft is already getting some free from actually ahead of Uzi, who actually roamed mid, I think, looking for at least a push or maybe a kill. And right now, EDG, they have the scaling comp, and it's looking strong so far.
Absolutely. As you say, they have the two hyper carries in the late game. They should be very well set up for damage. And one of the hyper carries, probably the one you'd least expect to be doing well, the Kassadin, is massive at this point. So for a pick comp to basically have to second-guess themselves is a scary spot for OMG.
Yeah, and Def now going to move in. Does have a lot of flat AD with the pickaxe BF sword, so going to push in. Cloud actually gets a minion. Maker might even look for a dive. Going. Gets very low there to Pawn's poke, and EDG, pretty good siege so far.
And EDG, they're actually not even behind in turrets, as we see both Uzi and Korra just having a bit of love taps.
Yeah, Korra's found Uzi there as well, but just does a bit of trade damage back and forth. Kassadin not quite charged up yet. Does have a cloth armor to help mitigate some of the damage both in his lane and against Uzi, but Kassadin maybe even looking to rotate down the bottom now. Deft really wants to group with his team, it seems like.
I'm not sure if Uzi really wants to stand up to this massive Kassadin. Of course, the two members might be enough to deal with him, but they're hard pushing this mid. They're just trying to ensure that the laning phase is over between LeBlanc and Lulu.
And Def going to chunkle the half health. Pawn going to make it almost a kill. Mako will threaten with the stun as well, and that will give EDG their second turret of the game, in fact, and it's the mid turret, so good movement there by EDG, and again, grouping with Deft in the mid game, always been successful for them.
And Going's not looking to rotate, so even though he doesn't have the Trinity Force champion, it still is the standard nature of Deft to group with his team to try and get those structures, two structures down against a mid-game focused team, a team that's doubled down on mid-game with all these pick champions. EDG, they're bringing the late game earlier and earlier, and that's when they'll really look to power through.
They will, but OMG, like you mentioned, still do have some picks to make here. So with the next Dragon coming up 20 seconds, good rotation here. So Cool actually going to dive in. There's a bit of poke there to Def. Just wants to keep him off the turret for now. They will just secure it there. The minion's actually going to come up big. The ulti actually comes in, but not going to kill Cool. But Def is going so aggressive. It has to be careful. Uzi does have some damage right now.
And teleports available from both top laners, so there could easily be a 5v5 very shortly, but with Cool so chunked out and probably sitting on a nice amount of gold, not only 700, so not a big deal. The big purchase, of course, is the Trinity Force. There is the gold completed on Uzi, but with the Dragon live, it looks like they're going to have to give up this objective just because they don't have that big power spike from Uzi.
Yeah, great pressure there by EDG. Going to pick up their second Dragon of the game now, so we'll pick it up very nicely timed there. And again, just EDG looking strong, continuing to snowball the Dragon. This is what we always see from them. Grouping early with Def to get turrets, now getting Dragon as well. EDG's objective control is second to none, I'd say, in the LPL.
This is an OMG comp that was basically comped around early objective control. They're even in turrets, which is not ideal, but at least they're not behind in that objective. But 2 Dragons already in the pocket of EDG. Look, there's definitely the potential that if they can clear out wards, set up some pinks around Dragon, they can arrest this and get the next 5. Absolutely, OMG, with all the pick champions they have. But getting themselves in an objective hole was not in the game plan for OMG.
No, and now OMG has rotated down a bit here, going down towards the bottom. Looks like 2 other people there as well, but Def will come in. Infinity Edge already completed for this Jinx, so very strong. Zavaron Khalil's going to try and look for a knockup, doesn't find it, but cool. Will get stunned there by Annie. Pong going to move in now as well to slow, not quite enough there, but Koro diving in on the cast and really wants some damage done, but instead they'll rotate in towards the bottom. Going now in trouble. No turret to run to. Maybe can use to ulti himself out here, but good trumpers there from Def. Going to zone him out. He actually TPs. Can they do the damage? Def, beautiful ulti, and he'll secure the kill.
Yeah, remember, this is a very greedy build coming through from Going. Doesn't even have his Sheen towards his Trinity Force. It's going to be so late in the game when Hecarim's actually going to have relevant tank stats like maybe a Frozen Heart or any semblance of armor. He's really held himself back, and he's kind of the big issue with this OMG lineup. He's the only one that isn't really comped for what the identity of the rest of the team is.
Yeah, that's right, and Cliff actually chasing down now as well. Good ulti actually from Cliff to get him near cool, but cannot quite cut him off. The rest of EDG coming in though. Koro fancies his chances with the gap closer here. Mako still with a stun ready to go and the flash. He's going to find someone. It's going to be Cloud first. Cool is there as well. Koro does have to be careful. Skill shots will go wide though. And EDG getting aggressive, but OMG will stay safe for now.
Important to note that the scaling is still happening for Kassadin. It's only 6 minutes in. 20 minutes, like we said, is when that Rod of Ages will be complete. Obviously, he's working towards the Zhonya's Hourglass just to be the true and frontline initiator for his team. Has Lulu in his pocket for potentially some support. If he can be a frontline threat and be doing massive damage and distract the team from the real hypercarry Deft in the backline, 2 massive hypercarries, especially at this point where Hecarim's basically a non-factor given his lack of combat stats, that'd be really big for EDG.
And Koro going to return to the bottom side now as well. Looking for rank 2 there with the Riftlock. Just poking Going there using the Force Pulse, and will continue to keep the turret safe. So it's kind of funny, but we see this a lot from EDG. They almost always pull their AD carry out of the mid game and give someone the empty lane farm in the side lanes.
Yeah, it has to be someone. This time it is Koro. Koro's had so many level up performances this season. After basically being a role player last season, doing his job but never being really looked at to carry, there's been a lot of breakthrough performances from Koro. I mean, if you give a player Kassadin in the top lane, there is always that carry potential. It might not be as regular as from the mid lane, but we've seen some massive performances from the likes of Going, who he's facing today, from the likes of Let Me, and Koro 4-1 so early, keeping up in CS, but against his lane opponent, you have to say, Going's not been interested in team fighting. He's just been trying to CS every minion he can.
And he's been CSing a lot. 50 CS ahead, actually, still of Koro, despite all the kills that Kassadin has. Def, though, he's in the top lane. EDG really want these outer turrets. They commit some good vision there as well. OMG will trade those. Going gets the bottom lane turret, so it's 3 for 3 now turrets. All of the outer turrets are dead.
A trade turret's not ideal, even though they have the late game advantage. You might say, all right, trading's fine for EDG. They're trading and getting more and more free farm to Going, making him closer and closer to relevancy. He finally has the gold for his Trinity Force, so that's going to be a significant power spike for him. But if during this time he can farm up, say, a Glacial Shroud or work maybe a big a Giant's Belt towards his first big tank item, the burst damage from Going might catch EDG unawares. He's actually maxing the Devastating Strike, Devastating Charge second. With the Trinity Force proc, the burst from especially the Home Guard teleport gang is going to be insane with Ignite. So he's basically going for an assassination build, but of course he'll transition into a more reliable tank as this game goes on.
Yeah, Going has now picked up the Trinity Force as well. Going to work on a Warden's Mill. You have to think there with the double cloth armor, so probably moving into a Randuin's very strong Hecarim item. And much like Aurelia, with Hecarim, you do need a good mix of damage and defensive stats.
The burst, you just have to respect the burst. The Ignite just doubles down on it. If he gets the right devastating charge, especially on a priority member from EDG, they're just going to be taken aback by how much damage he can do. But then again, if they can sort of move away from his W, move away from the Spirit of Dread, it's only 1 point in that ability. The Spell Vamp, if that's an irrelevant factor, he should be very squishy in a true fight.
OMG going to get aggressive, roaming very nicely in towards the top side of EDG's jungle here. And the big meeting wave is going to help cut them off. Going, just running between all of the lanes farming. but it's been pretty successful so far. Good damage there for the Corki as well. Uzi has a pickaxe and a dagger there to accompany his Trinity Force, and OMG look to get a very easy tier 2 turret.
Yeah, double Trinity Force, but Mako, he wants to go in.
Yeah, he's going in there. Does have the tippers down, but Cool just evaporates him, and now going. Gonna dive back in onto Pon. Pon does pop the ulti on himself. Clearlove in the back doing good damage, and Def gonna start to clean up. Gets one, gonna get two. Can he make it a triple? Goes in. There's three. That's four. No, Koro, he stole the pentakill. Def has to settle for a quadra.
So quickly this fight turned around. We talked about the lack of tank stats. They had a lot of Trinity Force damage to turrets, but my goodness, they explode to Koro showing up with that Kassadin, and the resets come through on that passive for Def, and this should be Baron.
Yeah, the 20-minute on the dot Baron there for EDG. I think they've been the only team to start Baron this early, but they are so good, again, at objective control, and this is no exception. Dragging up in 8 seconds as well, but EDG secure a very quick first Baron.
Invictus Gaming was the first to take advantage of the Baron damage nerfs in 5.2 and show that, hey, a 20, 21-minute, 22-minute Baron is now a realistic thing if your enemy doesn't expect it. Hell, get an ace, rush it down, just as strong a flavor from EDG. And this game, my goodness, it's turning on its head. Suddenly a 6,000 gold lead to EDG after it just looked like OMG was leading them a merry race around the map, picking up turrets.
OMG have come in for this dragon though as well. Cool is here. Mako ready to go, but does not have his flash. Just a stun. Clearlove will force them out, and Def looking so scary. Going to move the rest of them out as well. Going actually in the top lane with his teleport, but EDG are looking to claim the dragon. In fact, they leave it alone. They really want some kills here.
You can understand why Kassadin's doing massive damage to the back line.
Koro doing good work, but a great grab there for Cloud. That's going to force the ulti out. Now Loveling is in trouble. He's forced to flash out as well. Going continues to apply pressure, but does still have the TP.
Yeah, they haven't actually taken the dragon yet. As you point out, Gogoing's very, very strong. I think they might just try and trade this dragon for an objective, trade it for this top turret. They can't really look to contest here, OMG.
Yeah, it is going to be their third Koro. They already used their teleport trying to go in, so he is actually already back. A very smart early recall. And OMG maybe could have picked a 4v4 there, but couldn't find the right spot. Going had his port and his ulti, but didn't want to go in, and instead they get nothing, and EDG get their third dragon.
And Kassadin's 200 gold away from the zone is going to be so important to act as a frontliner. He has a decent health pool. Of course, the Rod of Ages completely powered up at the 21-minute mark. Is definitely overs in terms of items. He's going to AoE down this wave, probably pick up his Zhonya's from that buy. He's going to be a very strong frontliner. Of course, the death cap finished on Lu, another important item to power up one of the frontliners, whether it's Kassadin, whether it's Rek'Sai. And in the backline, 7-1-3, snuck through and doing so much damage is Jinx.
Yeah, Def actually about 2,500 gold ahead of Uzi, so just looking so strong right now. And the siege is excellent for EDG, especially with the Baron. EDG can just buy their time here, and this is where they wanted OMG in the last game here with their poke and siege come up against their turrets with nowhere they can go.
Absolutely. OMG have some good wards down for picks. They just don't have exclusive vision, and they don't have a team looking to transition between the maps in 1s or 2s. This EDG lineup knows to move in 5s to ensure that Cool doesn't have any significant assassination potential onto Def.
No one is still building up his death cap there as well, but EDG can look for another tier 2 turret here. They got the first one of this game. They're going to get the second in about as many minutes as well. And EDG just continuing to push. Again, you know what you get with EDG. It's very clean, very methodical play, especially when they're ahead.
But the pick comp just has no answers to the consistent grouping from EDG. As a 5-man unit, with Zhonya's finished on Koro, they're just no match whatsoever, OMG.
No, and Going actually going to use his ulti to try and get away here. Pawn is going to look to cut him off. So is Deft as well. I mean, at this point, Going probably knows he's dead. He's going to try and buy time. He might be able to run in for an exhaust, but Deft will tag him at least. And look at this damage from the Jinx. The Lantern actually might keep him safe. He's going to follow in. The ulti comes through. A good dodge there from Going, but Def is not going to snipe him. Clearlove, though, does get the chilling smite down, and Def gets yet another kill. The reset, so now in. Cloud going to get stunned up there. Pops the box, but goes down again as Jinx gets the double. Loveling forced to run very far, and EDG shoved down mid lane.
Yeah, one kill means the whole team falling apart when Deft is this strong. Doesn't even need the last whisper at this point. There's no real armor on the team, and EDG, after losing a game last time, doesn't look like they're going to repeat that here.
No, not at all. He's so massively far ahead. 8,500 gold. Make that more as they knock down some turrets. First in hit falls at 24 minutes. And no one from OMG, you said it, they have all the mid-game, but just none of the power.
And we've talked about the fact that OMG, 5 wins and 4 draws in their last 9 games. The big thing you can say there from those series is the fact that whenever they lose the first game, they come back strongly and win the second. They're completely turning that on their head this series. They had a very good performance in game one, out-comping EDG and really exploiting them. In this game, we thought, all right, if they can get ahead in the mid-game, they're pick pressure. There's no answer from EDG. The peel's not really there for Deft. But when everyone's overtuned in items, things like that doesn't matter. That analysis completely is thrown out the window when the item times are just insane from Koro, Deft, and all their friends.
I mean, you want to talk about no peel for Deft. He is insane right now as Loveling going to make clear that if it does get knocked up, it will complete the EQ, but Koro's going to chase him down. Already got smited, and Deft from downtown just takes him out for his 10th kill of the game.
They just keep piling on for Deft. This is the Deft we talked about that we really hyped up as the best performing player in the LPL so far this season. Well held down in game one. To some degree, made irrelevant. It wasn't San necessarily beating him in lane. Deft had a lot of issues, just really couldn't push his advantage. But look at him now, just tanking top turret, doing damage to it, rotating with his team. Everything's coming up Deft.
Oh, Cloud now in trouble as well. Cool actually going to land a snare, but Deft just going to chase and gets another kill. Cool almost gets exploded by a couple rockets. Uzi going to get chased down now as well. Forced to Valkyrie. The bear actually gets a stun. A good flash from Uzi keeps him safe, but Deft is running wild on this Jinx.
With the damage he's doing, I'm unsure who's the assassin. Is it LeBlanc or Jinx? Because 3 shots are all that are needed for everyone on this OMG lineup to explode.
Go and get slowed there by Koro as well, but he's so speedy on the horse. Koro can look to chase him, but gives it up instead. Kind of realizes that Going can do whatever he wants here. EDG still so far ahead, going to take the next turret here. The last tier 2 force here that already have broken the base as well. OMG are running out of structures to give EDG.
Absolutely. All the outer turrets are down. Cool comes in, dies almost instantly. And OMG, there's no front line to speak of when Deft has this many items.
No, Loveling just gets shredded. Deft going to follow in as well. There's already a double for Koro. Maybe he's going to get his Penta Chaos now as well. Rek'Sai does it for him. Deft gets another kill. And Deft probably thinks that's justice. Uzi going to chase near the wild growth. Deft going off. There does die to the turret. Uzi gets the shutdown goal, but EDG, they don't care.
26 minutes into the game, we saw a pre-20 minute win. We did not expect a 26-minute stomp coming through from EDG. But man, they do the OMG flavor. They make their adjustments, and they wipe OMG on the floor.
They really do. And you know, the question we had at the start of the broadcast, who is the best team in China? I don't think we answered it today, but we had one great series of League of Legends. EDG take the last game in emphatic fashion. And OMG have to be left wondering, why did we sub Uzi back in?
Well, I mean, it wasn't just Uzi. Remember, it's also the support change. Cloud sees his first performance since back at Worlds, 1-6-3. I don't think he was necessarily the critical factor this game, let's be real. There was a lot of issues for OMG. Even though compositionally they looked very solid, this game, the triple kill, especially when the roam came through from Koro, this game just snowballed crazily.
I mean, yeah, it was Koro's amazing teleport that really set it up. I was, of course, joking about Uzi there as well, but in a weird way, he's almost cursed this team, it seems like. It's, again, OMG play a very specific style of League when they play with Uzi. He did play Corki to his credit. I love seeing him branch out. Did not have a Deft-like performance, unfortunately, but at that point, honestly, with the Kassadin being that massive and Jinx just having so many opportunities to get kills, it almost feels like there was nothing OMG could do after that first 10-15 minutes of the game.
And when OMG introduced Uzi to the lineup, a lot of people rightfully said, okay, but this lineup's always been about soul lanes. It's always been about cool and go going, using the empty farm, farming up, and then San, you know, he operates on low resources. He fills his role, and that's how they're effective. They wondered how things would change with Uzi. To be honest, Uzi, I mean, look, he's a great player, and I think there is a strategy to work in there. There is a playstyle that will fit having these 3 hyper carries, but at this point at least, it just doesn't work when they're all in the Rift together. Yeah,
and it will not work today here. EDG and OMG, the Titans, will split their first ever meeting here in the LPL. But for today, we are done. On behalf of myself, Papa Smithy, Atlas, and our entire live production crew, we have more games tomorrow, but for now, good night.